Well, good evening everyone and welcome back to Crest Autosport TV here on YouTube. Welcome to the Crest Autosport Race Room League's World Touring Car Challenge, and this is the final round of the season, round 6 of the championship, and it's taking place here at the Nordschleife, as you're the guest by the visuals in the background here. What a spectacle we've got for you here tonight on the home of DTM, the true home of DTM, the true home of German motorsport, the true home of motorsport, one of the meccas of motorsport. This track is the Nürburgring Nordschleife in West Germany, and we're taking on pretty much the entirety of the Nordschleife with the exception of the bottom section of the GP circuit. This is the VLN circuit we're taking on today. 15 miles in total, or 24.5 kilometers if that's your measurement system. And it's going to be very exciting tonight seeing the cars take on this infamous track. The cars, as I mentioned, they are as follows. It is the DTM 92 cars from back in 1992, obviously, and it's only 4 of the 5 manufacturers, the Audi obviously missing from this category of cars. And the reason it's the DTM cars is because we decided to do a classic season, and it's been very, very exciting indeed seeing the different characteristics of these cars, to include the Ford Mustang GT DTM, which has been a heavy car but been a very thrilling sounding car, and one that has been very fast down the straights as well. It's been great watching that skiddle on the ground with its low ride height throughout the season. We've got the BMW M3 Sport Evolution, which is one of the most famous touring cars there's ever been, and that's been exciting seeing it be able to tackle the slower corners very, very well compared to other cars, and the lightest car of the field, which means it can be thrown about quite well. The Opel Omega 3000 Evo 500 has probably been the optimal car of the season, probably because it's been bared by the most successful driver in the series this season. We have a champion already heading into tonight, but plenty more at stake for other positions in the championship. But Diego Quintal taking the championship in the Opel Omega, which only had one car back in the DTM 1992 season. And another one of the most famous touring cars there has ever been is the Mercedes 190e Evo 2 DTM. Very famous car, quite loose on the rear end, but is a bit of an all-rounder in terms of pace. So a bit of a hybrid of all of the cars. What have we got in store for you tonight? Well, even though it is a long track, we are going for the same format tonight. We've got 20 minutes qualifying, which will see the drivers do around about 2 laps on this track to get their times in, not make any mistakes, and get their times in on the board to secure their starting position for the upcoming race tonight. That will follow with a 5-minute warm-up, but after the 5-minute warm-up will be race 1, 20 minutes in length, which means we'll see about 3 laps, we will, in that first race. And, of course, the grid will be based on qualifying. And race 2 will conclude the night and conclude the season. A 30-minute race, which means the drivers are going to be battling with intense tyre wear and on the edge of where the grip goes in these cars, threading the eye of needle between keep bringing the car home and getting a puncture, or binning it through the tyres being too worn out. But the grid for race 2 will be based on the results of race 1, but the top 10 will be reversed. So the driver that finishes 10th in race 1 will start pole position for race 2. And you guessed it, the person who finishes first in race 1 will start 10th in race 2. This is the season we have undergone. Throughout the weeks, throughout the months, 9th of February started us off all them weeks, and nearly 2 months ago at Donington Park GP circuit in the UK started us off a long time ago. That was a 1.5 minute lap compared to what we're seeing now of 8.5 minutes here at the Nordschleife. Round 2, Zolder, a very short track like Donington Park, but it saw some thrilling racing that day. It's probably one of the better rounds of the 6, or of the 5 we've done so far. And round 3 of the championship was at the Paul Ricard circuit, not traditionally a DTM circuit, but one that saw the cars really bring out their characteristics. Bathurst circuit, not traditionally a DTM circuit, but has hosted the Super Touring Car Cup in many, many years. And it hosted a very exciting round in Australia that week on the 9th of March. And the 16th of March last week was Interlagos, and that was indeed the round where Diego Quintal took the championship. But there's plenty more at stake tonight as we head into the 23rd of March, the Nordschleife. This is going to be a very interesting round tonight, ladies and gentlemen, so do not take your eyes off things. This should be good. We join the live action here at the Nordschleife, and we're greeted with our champion, Diego Quintal, taking on his first lap in practice, weirdly enough. He's kept quiet, but he is setting an okay time considering. But he's got nothing to worry about tonight. He's won the championship. He's heading into tonight with little to no pressure. He's got nothing to lose here tonight. So tonight, I imagine for him, it's going to be quite a bit of fun for him. That's what I imagine anyway. You can just have fun out there and not really worry. And let's talk about the championship heading into tonight. We'll talk about last week's results after this, but we'll talk about the championship heading into tonight. Diego has won the championship as the maximum amount of points you can win per round is 106. And he is 166 clear of second in the championship, so really nothing to worry about there. Diego Quintal is championship winner. It is a battle for second in the championship. Ollie Hansen versus Paul Hans. That is all to play for between them two to secure the podium. But not too far behind in fourth place, 26 points down, Jeff Perkis. Now, if anything happens to Ollie Hansen and Paul Jans, i.e. a retirement or a very bad result, Jeff Perkis is in that fight. So do keep an eye on it. Jeff Perkis did have a very good round last time out at Interlagos. Ollie Hansen and Paul Hans both had very below average rounds, I would say. Anthony Cheval-Urso has not taken part in the entire season, but he's taken part in, just going to check, 3 rounds of the 5 we've taken part in, and that puts him in a very nice 5th place, battling Steph Kramers, who's taken part in the same amount of rounds, only separated by 2 points. Fabio Andrade, Nikolai Mikov, Rodrigo Portugal and Elliot House. A 4-way battle for 7th in the championship. It was a battle for 5th, but Anthony Cheval-Urso and Steph Kramers, with their stunning results last week, have taken over those positions. And this becomes a battle for 7th between 4 drivers, and they're only separated by 4, 5, 6 points, which is going to be very exciting indeed. So that's the championship situation heading into tonight. What about the results from last week, as we've drawn upon them? Diego won race 1, and that was enough for him to put himself into good stead for the final race of the night. And then we saw a good battle between Steph Kramers and Anthony Cheval-Urso in that race as well. And big mover of race 1 was Elliot House, who got himself up 6 places to get himself reverse grid pole for race 2. Race 2 results were Steph Kramers taking the win, a near perfect night for him. The only thing he missed out on was, of course, the win in race 1 and pole position, but it was a near perfect night, a very good night indeed for him. Carl Dubois taking 2nd place in his debut for the series, remember? I do remember saying it last time, and he did very well in race 2 to take that position. And Diego Quintal had a very difficult lap 1. He was caught up in an instant and had it all to do for the remainder of the race to get himself up to 3rd place, and that was enough for him to secure the championship. So that was a sit rep of the championship heading into tonight. So we've got 2 battles we're keeping an eye on tonight. We've got Paul Hans in 3rd place. And he is only 3 points down from championship rival in the pits at the moment. It is Ollie Hansen. He's in the black Mustang and in one of 3 Tic Tac livery BMWs out there. It's going to be quite hard to spot him amongst the others, but it is Paul Hans. They're the ones to keep an eye on for 2nd and 3rd in the championship. They've also got a guard off from Jeff Perkis as well, who's also in a Tic Tac livery, weirdly enough. And I believe he's about to complete a lap here. See where he ends up on the leaderboard. It could be 4th place, which puts him in good stead ahead of his rivals. No, it puts him 5th, do excuse me. A very bad 3rd sector from him, actually. It's dropped him way down. He looked like he was on for a 4th place. So, yeah, Jeff Perkis is one to keep an eye on as well. Anthony Cheval-Urso probably is another one to keep an eye on for that place, because if the other 3 drivers ahead of them have bad nights, Anthony is right in that battle. we've also got that four-way battle for 7th in the championship. And if Steph Kramers doesn't race tonight, it will probably become 6th in the championship. But it is between Nikolai Mikov, Fabio Andrade, who's not here at the moment, so that might make it a 3-horse race, Rodrigo Portugal, and Elliot House. And Elliot House isn't here yet, and he normally arrives very late. For the Nordschleife, that's quite risky, but he normally does, and he does love the Nordschleife, does Elliot House. So it's going to be a close battle between them at the moment. And you'd say at the moment that Nikolai Mikov is in the pole position, not literally, to... Yeah, thank you for flashing to the cameras, Nikolai, you are on camera. Yeah, I say he's in the pole position at the moment with a good timing practice in comparison to his rivals. Some of them not setting a time at all, and some of them not setting a very good lap time. Just being honest. And that puts him in good stead for the night incoming. And we switch over to qualifying now. Now, the good thing is about qualifying here, the drivers do not need to do the entirety of this track. They do not need to do the entirety of this track to do an outlap. They can cut the Coca-Cola curve, which is the last corner of the GP circuit. And it means they can start their lap early. It means they've only got the GP circuit to warm up their tyres, which isn't a bad thing in these DTMs. They do warm up their tyres fairly quickly. We're looking at Remo Schneider, who's missed a few rounds this season as we head through the VLN section. We do not do the entirety of the GP circuit, we do half the GP circuit. A lot of cars out on track at the moment. A lot of cars not yet out of the pits. Diego Quintal is on his way. Carl Dubois hasn't headed out yet. But you'll see Remo Schneider shortly. I just wanted to refer to him to show you how this outlap works, and that's provided he does do it. You can cut the Coca-Cola curve on your outlap. So if you see some cars darting right, some cars darting left, you'll know why. So here we go, we're heading up towards the Coca-Cola curve now. He's going to brake and head through the chicane here to start what will be the first qualifying lap here for round 6 of the championship. Across the line he goes. Let's get an onboard lap of this track. Now I'm going to get an onboard lap of this track with the person who was fastest in practice, because we've done so many laps on board with Diego Quintal this season. I figured it would be appropriate to do it with someone else, actually. In a very, very nice livery, I've got to say, on Carl Dubois. Berlin, of course, advertising the 2000 Olympics at this time, 8 years prior. They would have got the bid for that not long before. And that is Keke Rosberg's livery. Of course, we know Nico Rosberg, Formula 1 champion. We know Keke Rosberg, Formula 1 champion. So through the chicane, the faster version of the chicane, and we're going to head through the Coca-Cola curve / chicane right now. Flat out, here we go. Nice straight exit. Now, this is going to be a very long lap, bear in mind, ladies and gentlemen, of this Nordschleife track. I'm just going to get a track map on the screen for me now, but we're going to head down towards the Mercedes hairpin here, into the Mercedes arena. Very shallow braking heading into the corner there. That might have been the quicker way of doing it, because these are very, very different cars indeed. Through the left-hander we go of the Mercedes arena, and it's going to be a sharp left yet again. Nice and smooth at the moment. Heading right here. Now we're going to head down towards the VLN section. We're going to turn in to the Kurzanbindung. That's what this corner's called, apparently. I'm not going to be able to quote every single corner on this circuit. I'll try my best, but it's probably not going to go very well. I do warn you. Left-hander here. Right-hander of the Warsteiner curve. Now flat out here down this longish straight, long in the GP circuit sense. And we'll head into the fast chicane here. Whereabouts do we brake? after the 100-meter board. Nice shallow entries into these corners here. I believe that's easier on the brakes, because if you're stamping on the brakes in a rear-wheel drive car and then turning it sharply into the corner, you're more liable to spin. So he's seeing this from Carl Dubois. He's taking very shallow entries into these corners and hugging it tight on the apex to make sure the car doesn't step out on the initial entry to the corner. We're now on the Nordschleife here, through the Hatzen back. We go, understeering a little bit there, but just about got away with it. Through the S's we go. This is a tricky part. You do not want to carry too much speed in here, otherwise you'll end up in the wall. More S's here. Spectators on the right, really enjoying this. And there's a car up ahead. We're going to have to be careful of that if we are Carl Dubois. Into the right-hander here. As soon as we're out of here, floor it. This is a lovely corner. One of my favourite corners on the Nordschleife. Now we're entering one of the fastest parts of the circuit. We're going to head towards the Flugplatz. In the air we go. A little bit of air. Down into 5th gear through this corner, flat out here, a long section here through the Cottonbourne. And I remember there being a big accident here in the WTCR when they raced here in the wet. It was 1 or 2 years ago. Over to the right, braking down, hugging it tight on the apex, not drifting out too wide, then braking into this tight right-hander, the Arenberg. Keeping it nice and tight on the apex. This is looking very clean as well. It's just looking cool, calm and collected. This is the evidence of a driver who really knows the Nordschleife right here. Down the hill we go. I believe this was where Niki Lauda had his crash in the 70s. Left-hander braking uphill. You've got to be very careful here. Goes airborne, washing out to the right a little bit there. That's good. That seems pretty good. Braking down steadily through this twisty section here. This is a very cool, calm, collected and measured lap right here. Stamping on the throttle as we'll head over the crest and then down the hill into the most northerly section of the track very shortly. This is the Metzger's Field. I think I'm pronouncing half of this right. My German's not great, to be honest. Not great technique. Into the Callenhard corner, long right hand here that just seems to go on forever. 2nd gear through here. Downhill we go and it will scrape along the ground here. Looked very smooth through there indeed. This is a stunning lap at the moment. Oh, I can see Fabio Andrade has commented on YouTube and he's retracted his message. I hope it wasn't too rude, but we can unhide it. No, we can't. Yeah, Fabio, let us know where you are. Why you're not racing tonight? It's such a shame because you're having a good season and you're in a good battle for 7th/6th. Oh, washing out wide there is Carl Dubois. Yes, it did. It invalidated his lap. He's going to go to the pits and he's going to restart it. Well, thank you for that, Carl, because we were enjoying that lap and he just washed out a little bit too wide. So we're going to revert to Diogo Quintal, who is a little further along in the lap, as we can see here. And that has really put a spanner in the works of our lap guide there. Ah, there we go, Fabio Andrade. My computer's going crazy today in the green hell. Yeah, your computer's definitely in hell at the moment. It's going through it at the moment. But it'd be such a shame to see you not race tonight, Fabio. You've been brilliant to watch in the championship. And we hope to see you for next season for the World Touring Car Challenge. Yes, there is another season coming up. We did announce it on the last stream at Interlagos, and we'll remind you of that tonight. But we'll remind you of that in the warm-up and in the intervals and after tonight's stream. Entries will open tomorrow, so if you are interested in taking part in next season's World Touring Car Challenge, which goes back to modern WTCR cars, we'll show you the schedule later on. And later on tonight, we are also going to announce our next season for the MX-5 Championship on Tuesdays. Now, I must remind you all, and it's a bit of a shame for you to be hearing this, but both championships will not be broadcasted. So this will be the last broadcast for the time being, anyway. Unless someone wants to volunteer to do it for free. Do everything I do for free, because I do it for free. Yeah, if anyone wants to come forward and do that, you're more than welcome to, as long as you can do the job. Oh, look at Quintal just absolutely scraping and bouncing through this section here. It's incredible watching these cars and watching these gladiators take it through these corners. I got that, yeah, watching these gladiators. That's something that Biggles used to say on these broadcasts here in previous seasons. I understand on the stream we might be dropping a few frames here, and it's probably because my PC's working quite hard to deliver this track right at the moment. So apologies if it is stuttering a little bit. I hope it's not too distracting. Might be someone else in the house using too much internet as well. It might be when we get to certain parts of the Nordschleife here that it starts packing in a little bit. And not a whole lot I can do while live, that's the problem. Just shut down a few things to help it speed up a little bit. He's having to work hard with this big long track. But yeah, you just have to deal with it, unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen. Quintal's about to complete a lap here, and that'll put him on the leaderboard. I have not seen other drivers get themselves on the leaderboard just yet, so Quintal may not be the first, actually. This looks invalid. It is, yeah, it's an invalid time. And usually what we did on the previous version of our broadcast software is we could see a track map. We don't actually have that anymore on, I don't think we do anyway. Just trying to suss out. No, there's no way of seeing it. That's a bit annoying. So we can't see where other drivers are. So we're going to have to flick through. Remo Schneider is the first on the board. There we go. He crossed the line and does himself a very nice 8:53 and only half a tenth ahead of Paul Hand. No, sorry, behind Nikolai Mikov. Great time for him. And people coming in the pit straight away to take on fresh tyres and head back out on track, as there is time to do one more lap for a lot of these drivers. Ollie Hansen, though, goes top of the standings, who is second in the championship and fighting for second in the championship with Paul Hans, who is 5 seconds down. And he has taken fresh tyres to go back out on track and give it one more opportunity. It's going to be close. It's going to be real close, because a lap here on this VLN version of the Nürburgring, the GP circuit, is around about a minute and a half, which means from now, actually, I don't think end drivers are going to get any more laps in. I think the drivers who are going to be coming through, that include Alex Ward, have not got much time. Quintal's definitely going to get a lap in here. He'll be able to complete this, but it's going to be very close. Jeff Perkins has put himself on the board. 5 seconds down. So Ollie Hansen is currently in the hot seat to take 2 bonus points and pole position. That is if Diego Quintal or Carl Dubois fail to set a time. They're going to be on the nerves here a little bit. They're going to be real tentative with this lap, albeit Carl Dubois is on it. 3 seconds clear in that opening split. Granted, this is a much longer lap. A split here is much longer than any lap we've done on this season so far. That's just how big this track is. Who else hasn't set times? Quite a lot, actually. Rodrigo, Portugal. Let's take a look. Is he on a valid lap? He is. It's a fair speed down, but he's going to get himself on the board. Andy Withers had a decent outing last time out at Interlagos. He got the job done. He got himself some points. He got himself some finishes. Liam Hopkins has abandoned his lap, as has Ian Deeney, but drivers still going include Quintal and Dubois, Portugal, Withers, Chevalier. Oh, has he got enough time? I'm not sure. This is going to be the closest one. This is going to be real close. Oh, he hammers it around the corner there. Drifting sideways around the corner. Carl Smith, he went a bit wide there. Hopefully that didn't invalidate his time. I think this is invalid, actually. So Carl Smith might be out there getting a bit of practice, carrying on to get the practice in. And Tim Johnson, well, he's definitely not going to get a lap done at this point. So this will be practice for him as well. Ooh. Oh, and Elliot House. How's he getting on? He's towards the end of the lap. And this is invalid because there's no splits appearing. That's how I can tell if it's valid or invalid. In case you weren't sure, ladies and gentlemen, is whether you can see the split times above the driver's information. So this will purely be practice for Elliot House, Tim Johnson, Carl Smith, Liam Hopkins as well. But we're going to wait for Rodrigo Portugal to come through. This is the end of his lap. It's still valid. It's a long way off the pace, but he's going to put himself on the board. He's going to secure a high-ish position in qualifying. Across the line he goes with a 9:14. And Rodrigo would be concerned about that. He's 20 seconds down from one of two of his rivals racing tonight. But the race is where it matters. The race is where it all comes. All the points come. Ollie Jansen currently holds the pole position, dependent on other drivers. Carl Dubois is in Sector 3 and is heading towards lap completion. Sector 2 here for Diogo Quintal, and that is a 56.0 he's on there. What about Dubois? 256.0 versus 254.9. It's looking like Carl Dubois is going to take pole position at the moment, unless something happens. Let's take a look at Cheval Urso, who is through Sector 1, around about the same sort of area as Quintal at the moment, but a 255.1. I believe that is in between Quintal and Dubois, so could be second place on the way for Cheval Urso here. Dubois is furthest along in the lap, so we're going to ride with him until the end, and then we'll switch to Quintal, and then we'll switch to Cheval Urso. Again, I do apologise if there are a lot of frame drops coming through at the moment, and it's because my PC is struggling to handle this track at the moment. Not a whole lot I can do right now, so you just kind of have to bear with it. I think the audio comes through okay, it's just a bit spluttery on the screen. Here we go, we're nearing completion. Andy Withers puts himself on the board in 6th place. Right in between Paul Hans and Alex Ward. Withers has missed most of the championship, so he's not got any championship to fight for, but he does enjoy these cars and he is getting stuck in. And these drivers just sort of having a bit of a laugh, ready before we move on to a new category of cars, the WTCRs, next season. But here we go. We're less than a minute away from Dubois completing his lap to put himself on the board. It's valid at the moment. He hasn't got long to go on this lap. It's probably the easier section of the Nordschleife, this part, but braking down from maximum speed of near 290 kilometers per hour. Braking heavily down to 3rd gear, 2nd gear. Easy on the throttle, out of the corner. This could be the pole lap. We're about to witness him complete here. Across the line goes Dubois, hugging the right side near the pit wall, and it's on the board. 11.6 seconds clear. Wow, that's impressive. Stunning lap from Carl Dubois. He might well be making a statement of intent. He did not win the MX-5s on Tuesday. He did not win the championship. And yeah, it all came down to a battle between him and Christian Orban, and it didn't quite happen for Carl Dubois. He had the advantage heading into the night. And a bit of bad luck here and there meant that he missed out on the championship. So making a bit of a statement of intent tonight to sort of say, well, next season, guys, I'm going for it. Quintal can do not much more at this point. He's setting some personal bests, but he is some way off of Dubois' time. While we're waiting for Quintal to finish the lap, Anthony Chevalier, so come on, give us the delta. There we go. Ooh, this is going to be close between Quintal and Chevalier, so it all depends on that sector 3. Here he comes towards completing the lap. Puts himself on the board in second place, 1.3 seconds down. That's not a lot here at the Nordschleife. This could be a close battle between Quintal and Dubois tonight. It could be between them two and Chevalier as well. Let's see how he gets on here. He does have enough time to complete this lap. 50 seconds remaining in qualifying here. We might get the results prematurely here. Breaking down. He's really pushing it. He knows he's fighting for second in qualifying here. Up towards the line. Half a minute to go. It's going to give it to us now. Yes, it is. And Anthony Chevalier so crosses the line, puts himself third place, and lost quite a bit of time in that final split. But only 11 drivers setting times here, but there are 16 drivers in the server, so we're a little unknown as to 12th to 16th in the qualifying, but Carl Dubois takes pole position and those 2 bonus points in only his second round here in the World Touring Car Challenge. Diego Quintal, already a champion, won it last time out. He takes second on the grid. Anthony Chevalier so in third place, and alongside him is Ollie Jansen fighting for second in the championship. Nikolai Mikov, who's leading the way for 6th in the championship now, 5th in the qualifying. Remo Schneider in 6th place with Jeff Perkis in 7th. Paul Hans fighting for 2nd in the championship, sits 8th in qualifying. Andy Withers and Alex Ward make it an all-Brit 5th row, and Rodrigo Portugal was the last of the time setters, sitting in 11th. I believe in 12th will start Elliot House. 13th will be Liam Hopkins. 14th will be Ian Deeney. 15th will be Carl Smith. Starting 16th will be Tim Johnson. So, Nordschleifers, what are they doing here? A lot of drivers heading out for practice is what I was going to say. I think they're practicing their starts. I mean, yeah, drivers will want to be out in front pretty early on here at Nordschleife. Difficult track to overtake on. And of course, if someone spins up ahead of you, not much room for avoidance. That's going to be a tricky one for the drivers. But while we are waiting for the first race of the night to get underway, why don't we introduce next season's calendar for the World Touring Car Challenge. So this will be next season. We're going back to modern touring cars, the WTCRs, and most of the WTCR cars will be available for choice from 2018 through to 2022. And if we get a 2023 car, we'll use that. We probably won't, but if we do get a 2023 car, we'll use it if it comes along. But yeah, sign-ups will open tomorrow on our website, crestautosport.com/raceroom-wtcc-sign-up. Try saying that many times. And it is free entry. It is a free to enter championship. So if you have race room, if you have a wheel and pedals, get involved. Tracks we are racing: Donington Park National Circuit, and it all starts on the 13th of April. So not long from now, about 3 weeks from now, round 2 of the championship, we're going down to Kent, racing on the Brands Hatch Indy Circuit. We'll head back north to Northamptonshire for the Silverstone International Circuit on the 27th of April. We'll head out of Britain for 2 European rounds, one being in Sweden for the Falkenberg Circuit. Very short track, probably the shortest track on the calendar. That'll host round 4 of the championship. We'll have a week off, and then when we come back, it'll be round 5. Still in Scandinavia, it's Norway's pride and joy of the Vålerbanen Circuit. Round 6, we're back in Britain. We're in Leicestershire for the Donington Park GP Circuit. Round 7, Silverstone National Circuit, a very traditional touring car track, on the 1st of June. And then the 8th of June, to see us into summer, we'll finish off the season at Brands Hatch Grand Prix Circuit. Again, like I said, ladies and gentlemen, free to enter. Sign up on our website, crestautosport.com. Race 1 will be underway soon. Quite a lot of drivers racing tonight, 16 drivers. We've had around about that throughout the season, and it's good that drivers are turning up for this final rounds of the championship to get a bit of fun in here at Brilliant Circuit. All in all, we've had 24 drivers take part this season, which is pretty good for DTM anyway. Normally DTM encourages like grids of around 10 to 20 drivers, so it's good to see quite a few drivers giving it a bash. Remo Schneider deciding to give us donuts for show to celebrate final round coming up. I assume that's what he's doing anyway. A couple of drivers actually getting out legitimate practice at the moment. Diego Quintal probably not content with being second in qualifying, so thinking, right, let's see if I can improve my times a little bit. Again, he hasn't really got full purpose tonight. He's won the championship, and tonight is just for giggles, I suppose. Nikolai Mikov out on track as well, getting a little bit of practice in as well. He's done a fair bit of this track, considering it's only a 5-minute warm-up. We're going to head into the race session very shortly. Again, sorry for the frame freezes happening quite frequently, particularly on this part of the track. It is because this track is so big and my PC's struggling to handle it. But here we go, the grid for tonight's opening race of the night. We do have 16 drivers, but only 11 drivers set a time. Carl Dubois will start on pole position with Diego Quintal in second position. Anthony Chevalier will start third with Ollie Janssen, who's fighting for second in the championship, remember, fourth position. Nikolai Mikov is in fifth place with Remo Schneider in sixth. Jeff Perkins in seventh. 8th goes to Paul Hans with Andy Withers starting 9th on an all-Brit 5th row alongside Alex Ward. Rodrigo Portugal lines up 12th, and there are other drivers lined up from 12th to 16th. All to play for here. The big long straight awaits us here at the Nordschleife. One of the most famous motorsport facilities in the world, one of the most famous places for people to just bring their cars and have a go at racing on this very infamous track. Still waiting for drivers to form up. We've got about 15 seconds before we actually get underway. Here we go, all drivers gridded up. It's Carl Dubois on the front row, on the right, and alongside him is Diego Quintal. Lights are red. Away we go. Bad start by the looks of it from the pole sitter, and he falls down loads of positions there. It's not a good start at all as Diego Quintal leads us towards turn number 1. We've got a 5 wide at the back there, heading into turn number 1. Remo Schneider nearly gets out of shape, and he's still trying to nip it up the inside. There's a spin in the middle there. That was not Paul Hans, that was Jeff Perkins spinning in the middle. So he's got all to do for the remainder of this race, but he has not lost too much ground on a track where losing too much ground is not quite so bad compared to other circuits. Nikolai Mikov there, very good start for him. Into third place he goes, but it's Diego Quintal who leads the way at the front here. This is exactly what he didn't need, but it is what he wanted to get himself out in front and continue his winning ways. Dubois sits in 7th place at the moment. He's defending from Paul Hans, who's going to be determined to get up a few places to catch up with his championship rival around the outside. Attempts the German driver on his home turf today to the inside of Carl Dubois, heading into the right-hander here. Dubois closing the door, but Paul Hans sticking to his guns, and they both run wide. And that'll lose them a lot of ground, and they're still fighting side by side, taking a lot of the curb. There is Dubois heading into the chicane. Paul Hans has the inside, but who's the latest of the breakers? It's definitely the Mercedes of Dubois. He heads back into 7th place, albeit a lot of contact to get there. Elliott has already a lot of positions, up from 12th to 9th, I do believe. Heading into the left-hander here, Andy Withers has got himself 10th place at the moment here. Has made his way past Portugal, I think. Past Jeff Perkis, I do apologise. Oh, big scrapes coming off the car. I assume it's this Mustang here, or of Ollie Hansen, or behind Alex Ward, who moves up a few places. 4 places moved. Biggest mover of the field so far is Alex Ward, as he's got Carl Dubois all over the rear of him. Carl Dubois is safely the fastest one on the track, so he'd be keen to get himself back up the order pretty quickly. Top 2, Quintal heads out onto one of the fastest sections here at the Nordschleife. Heading over the hill, he's got Chevalier, so only half a second behind. That's nothing here. Half a second can be gained or lost in an instant on this track. Now let's see how this BMW gets on down the straight here. We've got a position swap back there. Ollie Hansen has passed Remo Schneider, and Alex Ward is trying to make his way past. Oh, he was on the grass trying to make his way past. That is actually Carl Dubois trying to get by. Ward is up to 5th. Dubois is on the outside of Schneider here. Oh, and there's contact between the two. They keep it going. Remo Schneider had to stamp on the brakes, I think, to keep hold of the car. Dubois is through, but trying a new move here is Remo Schneider, and closing the door is Carl Dubois. He's been a bit fierce on this opening part of this race here. A little bit of argy-bargy from Dubois, but he's trying to get himself back up some positions to get himself to where he started this race after a miserable start at the front. Just might have been in the wrong gear or something like that. He just did not want to go as he attempts a move on the inside of Alex Ward. Does not make it. It looked very promising initially, but did not quite make it. Oh, we've got Elliot House on the inside of Paul Hans here. Oh, contact between the two, and Paul Hans not providing much room. This is my home turf. Get out the way, Elliot. As we head down the main straight here. One of the main straights anyway. Carl Smith, I think he's out of the race. Yes, he is. Race ended already for the Brit. You'll have to wait for race 2 coming up in a short while. House hunting down Hans still. Hans going a bit wide, heading into the hairpin here. Sideways, and he has to recover it to keep it in the race. And he's trying to guard off from Elliot House straight away as he rejoins. But House is through. A lot of contact between the two, but House makes it through and into 8th place. Dubois still on the charge, up to 5th place from where he fell to was around about 7th or 8th. Back at front, Quintal. Leading the way from Chevalier, and they're making a break for it. And stretching his lead to more than a second now. And they are 6 or 7 seconds clear. One time in screens telling me 6 seconds. The other's telling me 8 seconds now. Nikolai Mikov in 3rd place, and he's doing very well to serve his fight for higher place in the championship, which looking like 6th at the moment. All depends on what happens to other drivers. It could be DNFs at any point, and a DNF in this championship means no points. Ollie Hansen, he knows where he sits right now, will definitely get him a 2nd place. He just needs to keep it within distance of Anthony Chevalier, because he does not want to drop too many points to him. Though granted, there's a lot of points between him and Chevalier, but you'll want to keep it all 4s on the black stuff, and you'll want to keep this 2nd place well and truly his. Battles emerging here and there. Carl Dubois catching up with Ollie Hansen, getting very close to Ollie Hansen. Actually, we'll switch to them, and there we go. He moves past, and Ollie Hansen just thought, you know what, have it. You're way faster. Just take it. Jansen is in his own race here. His rival is in 8th place and he's in 5th place, so he does not need to fight him. Well chosen decision by Janssen. And we've got Andy Withers here battling with Liam Hopkins. Liam Hopkins, who's been battling this season with internet troubles and has actually managed to get himself in the race. He might have more internet stability than I do tonight. But he's in the race here and he's doing well. 1 place gain from the start to 12th place. Andy Withers has dropped places from the start. He was looking all right half a lap ago, but something's happened to him and it's dropped him a few places. Might have gone a bit out of shape somewhere. But we don't have replays on Race Room, may I remind you, unfortunately. It's something that would really revolutionise streaming here on Race Room. Now here we go, a 4-way battle. Alex Ward at the front of the battle, and my timing screen has just decided to go bang. I cannot see. There we go, I've got it back up now. Remo Schneider in the midst of this battle, trying to hunt down 6th place ahead, Alex Ward. Paul Hans makes it around. This is a mistake from Remo Schneider. Contact between House and Schneider. Through goes House and Schneider off the track. He's flashing his lights, not happy with Elliot House there. And through also goes Jeff Perkis. So there we go, that mixes things up a little bit. Ward still heading this battle, but a crocodile of cars behind. 5 cars, could be 6 if Ian Deeney can close in and catch up. Paul Hans much better through the corner there, and we're going to head out onto the main straight very shortly. That could really change things. We'll see who's the fastest of the quintet here. Best exit here is what's going to count. Elliot House is really pushing it tonight. He is really doing well. From 12th to 8th at the moment. Let's see who's the quickest on the straight here. Rear view from Alex Ward. Oh, look at these BMWs. They're now hounding in the Mustang. And Elliot House could push Paul Hans along. Hans is up into a much better place when it comes to the championship. He needs to keep within reach of Ollie Janssen in terms of positions. Here we go, Hans is through, and Elliot House can't quite get around, doesn't have the top end to get around Paul Hans, being in the same car of a very similar setup. Oh, we've got to be careful under braking through here, and Alex Ward lost 4 positions there as wide goes Paul Hans. He really messed up that exit of the corner there, and he's going to drop potentially back behind Paul Hans and Remo Schneider here. So that really didn't go well for Paul Hans, pushing a little bit too hard into the chicane there. It drops him back down to 10th place, in fact. And this 10th place is going to be up for grabs now between Paul Hans and Ian Deeney. Remo Schneider trying to move on. Alex Ward. Ward given a lot of room there, very generous indeed. And Schneider finds his way through, and he's already looking to try and get by Jeff Perkis before even the next corner. Now in the next corner, he's on the inside, and he's trying to make a way through. Oh, Jeff Perkis closes the door. Remo Schneider looking very racy on this part of the track at the moment. As we head into the VLN section very shortly, what kind of a move are we going to expect from Remo Schneider? Looking to the outside, and Alex Ward back up the inside, puts his car there and forces Remo Schneider to take evasive action. Oh, and getting out of shape there is Alex Ward. Now, he has admitted he has taken the most challenging car to drive in the field, but he enjoys driving it. It is a satisfying car to drive when you get it right. And he's absolutely right about that Mustang. It sounds great. Doesn't always drive great. That's the problem with it. Now he's down to 10th. He's lost the position to Paul Hans there. He's got way better speed on the initial straight here. Oh, as he runs a bit wide. Here comes Ian Deeney around the outside. And he's going to be later on the brakes potentially. Yes, he is. Into 10th place goes Ian Deeney. So 10th place is really taking contention here in this race. Remo Schneider around the outside of Jeff Perkis here. Perkis still challenging the inside. Oh, and he's going to go sideways. Yes, he has. And he's just about kept it going. And Paul Hans is washing out on the way outside there. Deeney gets alongside. He's trying to make his way past Perkis. Contact between the two. No, I want the road. You can go on the grass, mate. Yeah, and more flashing the lights saying, I'm not happy with what you've done there. I think there's a lot of drivers feeling the same as you, Ian Deeney, as Paul Hans goes wide. Slow down penalty for him. He's going to lose a place to Jeff Perkis now. It's entertainingly scruffy driving here from all these drivers right here, right now. It's brilliant to watch. Must be frustrating and a bit sweaty for them in the cockpits of these cars at the moment. And as it splits up a little bit, Elliot House has made a break for it. He's gone from this battle. 6th place for him. Schneider still got the cars in his mirrors of Jeff Perkis and Paul Hans. He's got a little bit of a gap. Now Nikolai Mikov is trying for 4th place here. Makes his way past Ollie Janssen. That looked very easy indeed for Nikolai Mikov. I wonder if there was a mistake from Ollie Janssen. He drops more places, but Janssen again, he's not fighting Mikov. He's fighting Paul Hans, whose place is behind him. But that's not going to stop Ollie Janssen from giving it a go here. Now the Mustang, unfortunately, bad brakes on that Mustang, which means he's going to be taking a big step back from the drivers ahead. It means on the straights and getting out of the corners, that's where Ollie Janssen's going to be at his best. And then we see Liam Hopkins might have hit the wall there. He's able to keep it going, but by the looks of it, the car is relatively okay. Yeah, it looks okay, but he's taken a spin and lost quite a bit of time. Oh, he's struggling to keep hold of the car here. It's struggling to keep going. And Tim Johnson is another retirement from this race, unfortunately. But if they stay around, they'll be able to take on race 2 and give it another go. That'll be not too far away. I think we'll have another lap here. Yeah, I do believe we'll get one more lap here. Did say it'd be a 3-lap race, and I think race 2 will be a 4-lap race. So really, only one additional lap, but this is the thing. This will be a longer 20-minute race than that of the other circuits we've raced on. How can you have a longer 20-minute race? Well, it's because once the timer goes to 0, it means the drivers have to finish that lap, and the finish of this lap compared to other tracks is longer. It's going to be much longer. In fact, I think we're going to get an extra 5 minutes. But I do believe it's going to be close to the 30-minute timer with the next race. Jeff Perkis getting a bit squirrely under braking there. Trying to gain back on Raymond Schneider, but he's also got Paul Hans to worry about behind. Again, just to remind you, ladies and gentlemen, we are having a few frame drop issues. Now I can do about that. It is the track. The track's so big and my PC's taking it on constantly. I've had a lot of drop frames tonight so far, but there's now I can do. All I can hope is I don't have to broadcast the Nordschleife again. So Jeff Perkis and Paul Hans are dropping off a little bit from Raymond Schneider, giving him a little bit of breathing room, and the Tic Tac delivery drivers, not teammates, are battling out, and Paul Hans is going to try the outside here, and Jeff Perkis says, nope, not so easy, and they're going to head into probably the most famous corner on this circuit, the banked corner here. Here we go. Only half a banking, and look how fast they go into it, because as soon as you hit that banking, it pulls you into the corner. It's such a joyous corner to drive. Ian Deeney holds up 10th place at the moment, and he's breaking away from Alex Ward. 10th place, remember, gets you reverse grid pole for the next race. The significance of that is, well, you're higher up the order. And Alex Ward has been, lately, he's been the king of getting the reverse grids. If I just remind myself of the results in previous races, he got 9th to start 2nd on the grid at Interlagos, 10th in race 1 at Bathurst to start pole on the grid, and then 9th at Paul Ricard to get himself 2nd on the grid at said Paul Ricard. So he seems to be the king of the reverse grids. As it stands, he's not going to get it. But there is another lap, and plenty can happen. Perkis real close to Remo Schneider, last few corners. Schneider's dropped off, and/or Jeff Perkis has really put the hammer down, and he cuts a bit of the corner there to try and get the inside, and Remo Schneider gets a big beating from the right there. Flash of the lights again. No, not quite. There's been a bit of argy-bargy on this this round so far. I suppose last round of the championship, drivers have thought, gloves off, let's just go for it. which in some ways is exciting for us viewers, and in some ways for the drivers, it's probably not the most pleasant of happenings to drive these races on. Back at the front, only a 2-second lead from Chevalier, so Quintal leads the way. And this is lining up to be Quintal's win number 7 of the season. That is domination. Dubois can do nothing more, really. The bad start is what's set him back, and he's 10 seconds behind. And he hasn't been able to do much to catch back up. Because their times were generally quite similar anyway. But with 2 3/4 minutes on the board, we'll have another lap here at the Nordschleife to cap off this first race. But it does mean these drivers have to take the cars further. It's 6 minutes or so further than what they usually do. Ian Deeney trying to make his way past Paul Hans here. This will be for 9th place. It's been a quiet season from Ian Deeney. He's getting real stuck into this race as he moves into 9th. Oh, fighting back then was Paul Hans, and he couldn't quite make it. Oh, excuse me. Oh, as Paul Hans half spins it, into the wall he goes, and that might give him a bit of suspension damage. 2nd place in the championship is really slipping away from Paul Hans tonight. The second half of the season just hasn't gone in the way of Paul Hans. We saw him take a brilliant victory at Zolder, his first, and at the moment, his only victory in Crest Autosport Race Room Leagues, and it was a heroic meeting for him. But since then, it hasn't quite happened for him. He's dropping a further... Oh, that's a spin from Ian Deeney. And that's shaking things up as through goes Alex Ward into 9th place, the king of the reverse grid. So there we go, it's going to be between Paul Hans, Alex Ward and Ian Deeney as the... uncharacteristic mistake from Ian Deeney there drops in places. He's got to fight on this final lap now to get back up there. All to do now. But yeah, I was just saying about Paul Hans. In 10th place where he was before that instance, so he gained 1 and then lost 1. 10 points further lost for this championship fight for him, which will put him 13 points behind Ollie Hansen. And Ollie Hansen is really coming back at Nikolai Mikov at the moment. Tried the inside going into the chicane. Both give plenty of respecting room there. And they've got Elliot House, who's on a massive charge here. What a race he's had. No qualifying, no time set. And he's romping his way through the order. He's catching up and could well be in for 4th here. Keep an eye on this battle though, ladies and gentlemen, as Ian Deeney did very well on the previous lap to get ahead and stay ahead of Paul Hans and Ian Deeney. Sorry, Alex Ward. Mixing up everyone's names not tonight, my word. Oh, Deeney's dropped off again. He spun again. Oh, that's really going to cost it. As Withers moves past in the same livery. And that's going to put Ian Deeney out of contention. Now, this is good for Paul Hans. If you're a Paul Hans fan, this is good for you. He'll start pole for the next race as it stands. Positions ahead of Ollie Hansen, which is what he needs. He needs to outscore, as it stands, Paul Hans by 13 points in the next race. Now let's say Paul Hans finishes where he starts and Ollie Hansen does the same in the next race. Let's say that happens. The championship, the second in the championship, will go to Ollie Hansen by 1 point. But that's just a weird scenario I've plucked from the air there. There's a lot of little battles happening on this final part of this race. Mikov has broken to a second clear of Ollie Hansen, but here goes Elliot House. He's not going to make the move just yet, but this could be the top 5 for Elliot House. And this is good for Paul Hans if he can get past Ollie Hansen here. Hansen won't be worried about that. He'll be worried more about just getting to the end. Worry about race 2 when it comes. Mikov has made a break for it. We've also got Jeff Perkis here, battling with Remo Schneider. The Swiss driver, probably closest to home right here. No Swiss tracks on Race Room. I don't know many sims that actually have a Swiss track. I know Assetto Corsa has some from back in the day. There was a very... Where was the Swiss Grand Prix hosted in the 50s? That track's on Assetto Corsa, but not on many sims. There's a Swiss track. I don't actually know many. Oh, wide goes Schneider. That concedes the position. Through goes Jeff Perkins into 7th, but we have to also look at Elliott House here, all over the rear of the Mustang. He's got the galloping horse right ahead of him. He wants past it. It's either the galloping horse logo or it's the Ford logo. I think it's going to be the Ford logo. Yes, it is. Oh, heavy braking from Ollie Jansen. And a big shunt up the rear from Elliott House to say get a move on. Or, oops, didn't mean that. House will see 4th is in reach and he'll want it. His pace has been brilliant. Absolutely brilliant in this race. Oh, granted they are 36 seconds down from the leaders, but they'll give it a good go. On this final half of the lap, battling it out. Diego Quintal somewhere away, but he's on course to win this race here. More than 2 seconds clear now of Anthony Chevalier. Win number 7, as I mentioned, of the season, which is more than half the season. The entertainers away here. Now, Elliott House probably also has the championship on his mind. Nikolai Mikov is another driver he's battling in the championship. House sitting in 10th in the championship. Only 2 points behind Mikov in the championship. This will make Mikov break away a little bit. He'll break him away by 4 points, so it'll be a 6-point gap. Ollie Jansen scraping that car through the corner there. It's like a night in at home with the Scale Electric set, watching Ollie Jansen's car go around the track. Oh, Elliott House, a good exit from the corner, nearly getting underneath. Just keeping an eye on our leaders to make sure we know where they are. Heading towards the latter part of the lap. Quintal's about to win this race. Comes Elliott House chasing down Ollie Jansen. He's running out of time to get to 4th place. Oh, he's going to try it here. Yep, he's to the inside and through he goes. I'm not sure if Jansen let him by or made a mistake and went wide there. But he goes through. And he makes 5th place. Up from 12th. Brilliant race from him. He was our driver of the day last week, reminder. And unlucky, Elliott, I don't give it to people on consecutive occasions. But there's another race to go. Plenty of opportunity for drivers to pick up the illustrious Driver of the Day award, where you win absolutely nothing, but you get good recognition from me. 10th place in reverse grid, currently held by Alex Ward, but there is a charging Andy Withers behind. He's only 3 seconds behind. Could this change hands before the end of this race? It could. One mistake from Alex Ward, and it could hand it to Andy Withers. Elliott House is broken away from Ollie Jansen, is really gaining towards Nikolai Mikov. We are going to have to switch towards our leaders, though, as towards the end of the lap comes Diego Quintal. He's going to win his 7th race of the season, although he's dropped a bit of time in this last half a lap, trying to maintain the tyres, I presume, as Elliott House makes his way past Nikolai Mikov. Oh, and Ollie Jansen also had some trouble, and Mikov has spun here. He's trying to get it back going, and he drops more places. He's moved behind Jeff Perkins, and he allows Remo Schneider back through to prevent moving across the track on him, but that drops a lot of places for Mikov and puts his 6th place in the championship in jeopardy, and it's really going to hand it over to Elliott House. But we talk about this race here and now as Quintal comes through to take the win in this opening race of the night. Win number 7 of the season, and Anthony Chevalier comes through to take his 5th podium of the season. Still hasn't picked up the win yet this season. but a podium nonetheless. Carl Dubois comes through for another podium in his third race in the championship. That is bravo to him indeed. It was a bad start to the race from pole position, but it was a good end, finishing just 6 seconds behind the top two. Elliot House will come through a brilliant charge from 12th to 4th place. Round of applause, ladies and gentlemen, from wherever you are watching, on your phones or on your screens. What a drive this guy's had in this race. 4th place for Elliot House. You'd be really pleased with that. Ollie Hansen comes through in 5th place. That puts one hand on the 2nd place medal for him, with good points above his rival. Paul Hans is going to come through in 8th position, but before him 6th place comes through Jeff Perkis, and 7th place Remo Schneider. Them two, of course, battling quite a lot in this race, it's got to be said. Paul Hans will come through in 8th place, loses a bit of traction from 2nd in the championship, but holds on to 3rd. And Nikolai Mikov will come through in 9th place in the latter part of the race, losing it there. Oh, and it was getting close between Ward and Withers. Withers needed a few more corners and a few more minutes to get that reverse grid pole, but Alex Ward, the king of reverse grids, will take 10th and reverse grid pole for the next race of the night. We'll just start as soon as drivers finish their races here. We've got Andy Withers, who comes through in 11th place. Rodrigo Portugal struggled in practice and qualifying, but he comes through with a healthy 12th place there. And a disappointing race for Ian Deeney. He was right in the battle there, right in the battle for 10th and upwards, but it falls short of 13th place. And Liam Hopkins comes through to complete the finishers in this race, and there's our standings. Quintana gets fastest lap, so 2 bonus points, just to rub salt in the wounds of the other drivers. He's battling in the championship. Chevalier also takes 2nd place, with Carl Dubois in 3rd from pole position. Elliot House from 12th rises to 4th. Ollie Hansen takes 5th from Jeff Perkis in 6th, and Remo Schneider in 7th. Hometown hero Paul Hans takes 8th position from Nikolai Mikov in 9th position. Reverse grid pole, and 10th place will go to Alex Ward. Andy Withers takes 11th from Rodrigo Portugal in 12th, and Ian Deeney in 13th. Liam Hopkins takes 14th from Tim Johnson in 15th, and Carl Smith 16th, rounding off the whole field. We are going to head off for a quick break, ladies and gentlemen, and when we come back it will be the next race of the night, the final race of the championship, the final race of tonight's round. Join us in just about 5 minutes. Don't go away.